กลับมาแล้วนะครับจบไปแล้วสำหรับเซสชันแรกนะครับเรียกได้ว่าความรู้นี่เต็มเปี่ยมแน่นมากๆนี่เป็นเพียงแค่ hospital นะครับ industry แรกเท่านั้นถัดไปเนี่ยเดี๋ยวเราจะเริ่มไปพูดถึง health and lifestyle แล้วนะครับเราจะมาดูว่าเทคโนโลยีต่างๆที่เรามีกันเนี่ย advance ขนาดไหนแล้วมันเข้ามาช่วยให้ industry ที่เกี่ยวกับการใช้ชีวิตของเรา digital health มาแล้วเนี่ยต่อไปเป็นไลฟ์สไตล์ของคนแล้วเนี่ยมันมีอะไรเปลี่ยนแปลงไปแล้วมันทำให้ทุกอย่างมันดีขึ้นได้ยังไงเดี๋ยวเราเชิญกูรูของทาง Health and Lifestyle มาคุยกันต่อได้เลยนะครับ
เริ่มต้นวันใหม่ที่แสนสบายบนพื้นที่แห่งความสุขของคุณให้บ้านรู้ใจคุณมากขึ้นด้วย True Living Tech Intelligence ระบบอัจฉริยะ IR Remote ให้คุณควบคุมบ้านได้ดั่งใจเพียงปลายนิ้วสัมผัสผ่านแท็บเล็ตหรือการสั่งด้วยเสียงด้วยหลากหลายฟังก์ชันที่ตอบโจทย์ Smart Living ให้คุณควบคุมอุปกรณ์ไฟฟ้าภายในบ้านได้สร้างความสุขกับบรรยากาศที่คุณสร้างขึ้นเองด้วยระบบตั้งค่าอัตโนมัติเปิดปิดเครื่องใช้ไฟฟ้าในแต่ละห้องโดยใช้เพียงปุ่มเดียวดูแลความปลอดภัยในทุกพื้นที่ด้วยระบบเซ็นเซอร์อัจฉริยะแม้ไม่อยู่บ้านก็ยังควบคุมผ่านแอปพลิเคชันบนมือถือได้และให้คุณเต็มอิ่มกับมื้ออร่อยด้วยบริการ Home Delivery สัมผัสประสบการณ์ความสมบูรณ์แบบแห่งเทคโนโลยีบ้านอัจฉริยะได้แล้ววันนี้ที่ True Shop Central World True Living Tech Intelligence อัจฉริยภาพแห่งการใช้ชีวิตจาก True Digital
สวัสดีนะครับขออนุญาตปรับโหมด Audience ที่เป็นไทยนะครับเป็น FM นะครับตอนนี้เราจะ Speak in ภาษาอังกฤษนะครับ Thank you very much for joining us across the region. We are still in the health theme as we listen to the health provider in previous session. There is another side of the coin for consumer health and lifestyle aspect. The topic of the session is how can technology can get you healthier. Let me spend a couple of minutes to set a context of this topic. Health and lifestyle is basically a $5 trillion industry. Sometimes it might showing up in other industry as well, like consumer, in smart home and smart living, or even in property like smart city as well. While we are in the middle of pandemic of COVID-19, as you all are aware that we are not even sure yet when it's going to end, but we know for sure that the pandemic have been a catalyst for digital transformation for this industry. According to McKinsey, the transformation will drive the industry more so that they projected that the size of industry will be a double in 10-year time. What about the trend of industry? What we've seen so far are following. First, we have seen the growth of digital health. In fact, consumers prefer more digital health in form of self-care and wellness than traditional ones. The study suggests that the trend is more so for consumer in millennial and also in Gen Z generation. The self-care and wellness that we're talking about are in the theme of better health, better fitness, better nutrition, better appearance, better sleep, and better mindfulness. Another trend that we've seen so far is coming from a fitness segment. The fitness consumer are trying to get in shape using solutions available for them through digital fitness like mobile app or even YouTube channel. We are seeing the rise of fitness startups like Peloton, Miller are so successful selling their digital exercise equipment plus online content for consumer at home. Of all above trend, we've seen technology like IoT and AI are in the middle of everything. IoT and AI have transformed the health and lifestyle product and services that led to changes in consumer behavior. In this session, we have distinguished panelists from 3 different thought leaders. First, let me introduce Dane Cantwell. He is the Country Managing Director of Jet Fitness. Welcome, Dane.
Thank you very much.
Secondly, we have John Gillman. He is the head of Fitbit Health Solution from Google Fitbit. Welcome, John.
Thank you.
And last but not the least, we have Dr. Tony Leung. He is the head of clinical at Cigna, Hong Kong. Welcome, Dr. Tony.
Thank you.
Let me kickstart the topic of how technology improves the health and lifestyle in holistic view. I want to direct the first question to John. John, how does Fitbit improve your product for people who have a health-conscious lifestyle?
So Fitbit's been doing this for about 12 years. We were the first company to really bring health and activity tracking to the wrist. And we've really led the way in a lot of ways. We were the first company to bring heart rate to the wrist, which has enabled really effective sleep tracking, activity tracking. But first and foremost, we know that we are a behavior change company. We help people to understand their health and wellness, and we motivate them with data and guidance to improve their health over time. And that's the key benefit of a wearable is we do help people to change their behaviors.
Okay, thank you, John. Let me turn to Dane. Dane, in the eye of gym service provider, how does Jet Fitness use technology in helping to increase the customer experience?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Well, we all know it's very clear the importance of exercise with maintaining physical and also emotional health. I think it's been ramified recently with the COVID situation, and obviously technology is quite an important factor for that. No one can hide away from technology in our industry, and I feel if it's not embraced, you're simply left behind. So you really need to enhance, and how we do that is via our parent company, the Fitness and Lifestyle Group, which is has 8 brands underneath the group, and Jets basically harnesses the technology inside to get ahead, and that's basically enabled us to become the leader within Thailand in a short period of time. Just a few examples of some of the ideas that technology has helped us. Personal training portals are becoming quite a common scene now. This is where trainers actually provide either one-on-one sessions or group sessions or corporate sessions, and it can be in any environment. So it's if it's at the comfort of the member's own home with their families, or we have seen also with corporations, it's a great way to encourage excitement and participation while they're at home as well. Another big one for us is the live streaming side. So we actually we hold daily live streaming in Thailand. We have over 300 classes so far this year, and around 2 million views. So it's definitely gaining traction, and it's one that's going to be around in the future. And I feel it will be a mainstay in the next 12 months.
Thank you, Dane. Dr. Tony, as insurance company, what technology that the company adopt to provide better service to your customer?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, so actually, to start off with, I think coming from the insurance side, there obviously is the perception we're in insurance, which is true, but we do put value in health services. We're very happy to look into how we can help with the health proposition, as well as the well-being of our members. And so in this aspect, actually echoing what John and Dane have said, we're really looking at technology as a way to drive behavioral changes, really provide an ecosystem where we can, have an idea of how much activity the people are having, how this will affect their health, and in the long run, in terms of a health services insurance company, really look at how that affects the population as a whole. And so we view technology and how we can use technology as a way to drive engagement. So we want to have a platform, be it a mobile app or any other technology. We can do it ourselves natively or with partners to drive our members to understand that, look, health is a long-term thing. You need to really engage in it. There's many aspects that you can look at, physical, mental, but through these platforms, with technology's help, especially now in COVID, when people really, in some cases, can't even leave their homes. So whether we can reach them and get them the programs and the information that they need to improve their well-being, and that's really the take we have on technology, is to try to leverage that. And so, now you're seeing proliferation of telemedicine, you're seeing proliferation of potentially even medication delivery, and that's all part of it. But the larger picture is also about the daily maintenance, and I think that's where John and Dane have really good experience as well.
Thank you, Dr. Tony. Let me turn to another topic. I think the question is for everyone. The question is, what is the missing piece of puzzle in terms of the health and lifestyle industry, in your opinion? Let's start with John.
So the missing piece of the puzzle. Well, I think behavior change is very difficult. It's hard to get people to change their behaviors. And I think the advent of technology in healthcare leads to a number of really significant outcomes. So it allows for the personalization. So, we know as a company that one size doesn't fit all, with anything. It's hard to motivate people to change, behavior en masse. But if an individual can see even small steps or small improvements in their sleep, small improvements through diet modification, that leads to significant changes over time, and relieves the burden on healthcare networks. There's a real shift, and one of the key outcomes, I think, from what we're seeing with COVID is the shift from the need to move from primary care to preventative care, to get people to take more responsibility for their health and wellness. I think that is the biggest opportunity that wearables can bring. And I think the missing piece is the integration. The integration of wearable data into healthcare, into fitness, into insurance. I think, wearables can revolutionize insurance and the way that insurers interact with their customers. I think it's heading in the right direction. I think COVID, in a lot of ways, has accelerated the focus on wearable data, and the need for wearable data, the focus on patient personalization, the individual personalization. It's coming together. It's not necessarily a missing piece, but I think, trends that are coming together across the industries.
Okay, thank you, John. Same question to you, Dane. Your opinion on the topic of what is the missing piece of the health industry in general?
Yeah, I totally agree with John, actually. I'm going to reinforce what he said because my notes are very similar. But I feel enhanced personalization is going to really improve, not so much the missing jigsaw, but something that's going to have a huge focus as people want to, be really laser focused on their own workout and their own goals. And there's going to be a range of data for members and individuals to be able to utilize. So I think that the key is, all the data is growing, but also how do you maximize that? How do you actually use it to achieve your goals more efficiently? Within our own JET side, an area of big focus is the JET's new Gen 2 JET's application. So this is another area that's that we feel is growing with all of the data and the feedback. We'll have things like attendance bookings, seamless PT, training online, contactless gym access, and a host of other features. So, on top of the personalization, there's going to be a range of different options for the member just to enhance the member workout and a better experience.
Thank you, Dan. Same question to Dr. Tony. As insurance, what do you think is the missing piece for that puzzle that we've been discussing about?
Right. Yeah, so I'm going to sound like a broken record here. It's essentially the same thing. We don't see it as the missing piece. It's something that's growing. Something that we really need to work together on is, the data's out there from the different stakeholders. We're talking about the integration aspect of the data. With the wearables, with the technology now, people at their fingertips, they have their data. They can personalize their regimes, their workouts, and their approach to health to try to improve themselves. But in the long run, from our insurer's angle, where we're really looking at this as a population health type thing, individuals obviously important, but it plays into a whole society, the landscape of particular localities. So regionally, we see differences in different areas. But the point is, when all of this health data is available, how can it be used beyond particular individual aspects? Now, certainly that does bring up issues with data privacy and how data is shared. That's a topic for another day, I would suppose. But the point is, everything that is there, the technology, the approach, how we're thinking about it across industries, I think it's quite mature. It's growing, and in context to COVID, once again, people are paying much attention to it. The piece that we really need is to integrate it, is to work across the different stakeholders and really try to integrate it. So, we work together and improve the health of the members and the people who are using these technologies.
Thank you, Dr. Thari. We turn to another topic that we discussed about technology. We've been listening to previous session talking about sensor IoT and all the equipment that consumer health will use it. John, as you working for a technology company that be leading about this topic, what do you think would be the technology that we're going to use in the near future, or maybe in the future that we're going to see from the perspective?
So the thing about working in a consumer technology business like Fitbit and now part of Google is the speed at which the technology has evolved and developed over the last 10 years. If you think about it, 10 years ago, there were just very basic steps trackers. We now have the ability to detect AFib on the wrist, for instance, with a Fitbit. We have the ability to detect stress levels using a wearable. Fitbit in the United States has just launched a study to look at whether a wearable can be used to detect or to give a reading of blood pressure, which is based on heart rate using what we call pulse arrival time. The way that technology is changing is just extraordinary, and it's accelerating. One of the challenges is to make sure that the development of technology keeps pace with where people are and what people want. Most people are struggling with poor sleep, or particularly through COVID, a lot of people globally have been struggling with mental health. We've got to make sure that technology meets people where they are and helps them with their needs, day to day, and that's an important thing. I think wearables are able to play a really, really significant part in helping people to understand how they can improve their health every day. How can I improve my sleep tonight? How can I get fitter? How can I get healthier? How can I eat better? These are the things that people have focused on. The opportunity for wearables to play a greater role in healthcare is very exciting and is evolving very, very quickly.
Let's clarify a little bit. I think previous session, the healthcare provider, they're saying that the consumer IoT is good enough, but then the problem of the data that might not meet the standard of the healthcare. In your opinion, John, what do you think is going to happen in terms of bridging that gap between healthcare provider and consumer healthcare?
I think the gap is closing, and that really accelerated through 2020 with the advent of COVID. Fitbit launched a number of health metrics on the wrist last year. So we launched the ability to track skin temperature, SpO2, respiratory rate, breathing rate, heart rate variability. These were really significant metrics that in a lot of cases were critical to understand the progression of COVID-19 among people who were infected. We launched studies that showed that a wearable device could, in fact, detect the onset of influenza or COVID maybe a day or two before people started to show symptoms. So I think a lot of it is about understanding what the technology is capable of and educating healthcare providers on the value of wearable data. And I think that's something that again is probably a bit easier today, because I think a lot of healthcare networks, a lot of governments, a lot of clinicians really understand the value of the data that's coming from a wearable device. So again, in a way, COVID has been terrible obviously for so many people, but it's led to technology innovation in wearable data, remote patient monitoring, telemedicine, that I think will greatly benefit people in the future.
Thank you. Dr. Tony, let me turn to you about, we're discussing about technology that consumer do at home. And then in terms of insurance company, when are you going to accept those technology? And then what do you think, what can happen to technology in the near future that insurance company will embrace it, and then consumer health will become more spread than this?
Well, I think I'll tackle that from two angles here as a clinician as well. I think the data points, the information that comes from these wearables, the studies that are coming, it's more data for clinicians to really assess patients and how they're doing in different situations, particularly in remote situations or in COVID. It really helps. It's a new tool in the arsenal. And so if you really project this towards my role now, in an insurer at Cigna, we really look at this as an innovation where we can have more information potentially to really assess what the health state of our membership and the larger populations. In terms of what you're saying about embracing it, I think at no time will I say that I don't embrace new data. It's always about assessing it and seeing where I can apply it. And that's where we're at right now, is as John mentioned, with different developments in time, there's going to be new technologies, new metrics that come up, and we're going to need to evaluate that based on what we know and see how we can apply that to different situations. So this could be health, this could be other products as well. But the point is, we're always open to it, and the technology is really getting to the point where we're getting access to it as well. And that's where we go back to the previous topic, the integration and how we approach it. We really need to consider moving forward.
Thank you, Dr. Tony. Let's turn to Dane a little bit about the technology that you think in the future. We saw, and as I mentioned before, that fitness startup starting to become more popular in terms of home fitness. What do you see the trend in the future for technology for fitness that people will be using more and more in the near future?
Yeah, so I definitely feel that there's going to be more communication between devices, as what John and Tony had mentioned before. So it just basically means that individuals or members will have more access to data anywhere they go. In the past, within our gyms, a lot of the devices had closed APIs, meaning that they didn't really speak to any other devices as such. But what we are seeing now is more open APIs where, some of the key platforms that you'd mentioned before, like Peloton, Strava, MyZone, etc., are talking seamlessly with all the equipment. So basically, members or individuals can access their details anywhere and get more out of their workout. I feel also inside of the club, there's definitely technology will create a healthier environment in the sense that with more technology and with the arrival of 5G, there'll be better tracking of the COVID situation. We'll be able to know exactly the capacity of the club, where members are, their temperature checks, etc. as well. It's just going to create a safer environment through there. Also, with regards to the data side of things for our members, we have quite a large pool of membership base within Thailand now, and I feel with the new technology, it just allows better tracking for more for member feedback and satisfaction. It's just going to enable a better service from our side.
Thank you. I think unfortunately we're running out of time, and it's been quite exciting and actually a thought-provoking session so far. Thank you for all panelists today, Dr. Tony, Dane, and John. Thank you very much for this session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.